Hello, welcome to the Family Show, Season 2, Episode 17, with Train from 308 Ghost Train here with me today. And I was listening to your music before you popped up, and the one that hit me with the way you're singing it, it just brought me back, like, way back to my youth. And you it seemed to me like you were writing it from somebody that's watching somebody else, but they don't know you exist, but you're like, hey, I can treat you better than this person can
That
treat you,
that
and all that kind of stuff.
that must be "I'll Unbreak Your Heart."
Yeah, I'll break your heart. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, Bob.
Yep.
That was actually a song written looking for love, and what I would probably do if I had ever found it, I wanted to write a story about finding someone who was in just as much of a troubled situation I was. That if I did, this is what I would try to say to them to convince them that there is hope and that you can be happy in life. So that's how "I'll Unbreak Your Heart" came about. I was actually looking for love during that writing period.
Right.
This writing period, I actually found love, so it's a whole different thing. But we can get into that as we talk. But
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. For
yeah,
sure.
I'll Unbreak Your Heart's one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, and you know, when you're talking about a plan and all that kind of stuff, you can almost take that like God saying that to you too. I'll break your heart, and you'll be okay if you hang out with me.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
like you were saying before we began, that God couldn't write it, and I've kind of been going through that myself with having success in this, and all the people that I've talked to, I could never imagine. And before I started it, one of the things I said, I asked God, hey, if you can get people to hear my message and have them on, I'll do the work to have the people on. And so it's been interesting seeing the response to that. Was there a point where you kind of prayed for your music to take off, saying, "Hey God, I'll put in the work if you can, you know,
Well,
help me out."
well, I think I was kind of forced to get to that because I had been doing it for a while, and I was getting ready to get. The story is I was getting ready to give up. I mean, back in I don't know, about February of last year, 2019, I was in a really horrible place in my life. I was in a really bad relationship. Everything was just going wrong. It was just to the point where I just couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah,
And I was looking and praying and searching for some kind of guidance, what I was supposed to do. And actually, it was a really dark time for me. Bob, I wasn't, I wasn't even wanting to go on anymore. And I went to bed one night, and about 5:30 in the morning, I always believe a lot of songs I write in my sleep, and especially in the first EP and before. And I had really been at my wit's end, and a song came to me. It's called "Worn." Worn, and I said, "You're worn," and I'm holding on, trying to get through all the pain and scorn. And I woke up. It was like 5:30 in the morning, and I ran into the corner, into my living room, to my little studio, and I grabbed the guitar, and I wrote that song in about 15 minutes. And that song saved my life. And that song spawned the 308 Ghost Train. That's the song that actually led to me being able to say, "Oh man, God's got a job for me to do," because this message is just too good, and it's for more than just me. Like
yeah,
I knew that I was just the messenger here, and being just a messenger here, I knew that I had a job to do, and how dare I think anything else but to do what God wants me to do. So I did it. And then I wrote "I'll Unbreak Your Heart," and it just kept going and going. And man, God is great, and this whole thing is wonderful. And the story is just fantastic. It's miraculous and extraordinary. I mean, it just really is. And
yeah.
went through all the songs. All the songs came out in the first EP, which you've listened to, and then do you want me to tell you the story about the new single that actually launched the 308 Coach Train, "Bleed Over Me," or you
Yeah,
want
man, you can tell a story if you want, and
to? Okay,
I was just gonna say I've been there too,
listen,
and
man. I'm good at. I love the camera. I'm a ham, man.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
take over. You got to kind of stop me, brother. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what happened was I had hired a photographer in June to shoot 21 Guns and A Million Tears and a couple other things, and we had gotten to know each other through the months, and it was really just nothing but working for me at first. And we both found out that we were in horrible relationships. And it took me back to I'll Unbreak Your Heart and the story and the message there. And I was like, oh, see, and she couldn't realize this, but I just, oh my God. It was like almost like seeing something that was going to happen in the future. Yeah. And then writing a song about it before, and then it happens. And it was really cool. And you know, I was doing a video, a commercial, because some journalist in England had made a statement. I don't know if you read that Jam Sphere thing or any of those other ones, but she said it's easy to see why some will crown him the Messiah of the new rock world. And I said, that's too much. Right, I said, whoa. I said, whoa. I said, we got to shoot a commercial right now, put that on YouTube. I said, because you got to dumb that down because it's just crazy. Yeah. Okay, you know, you just can't make those kind of statements at this part of the game. You can't even make them at the end of the game, to be honest with you. But there's really no reason for it. So we were on the shoot for the last day of that commercial, and Amanda was having surgery, the photographer, on her nose to remove a node, and like I couldn't get my lines right. Like at this point in time, we were still just working together. She's working for me, and I'm like, everybody on the set's getting mad at me. It's 95 degrees. We're down in Florida. They're all sweating. Everybody's saying, what's the matter with you? And I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know. You know, so then I went, that was just my Bluetooth. So then I went down. So then I went home that night and didn't sleep. And the next day, about 1 o'clock, I get a phone call, and it's her. And I said, hey, don't say nothing. I said, I really miss you, and all I want to do is kiss you. And she said to me, okay, but I'm afraid I'm going to bleed on you. And I said, oh my God, Amanda, you just gave me my next song. And I hung up the phone. Imagine that. I've been waiting to talk to her. I hung up the phone. Right? So I run to the piano and I start writing this song, and I get it down. I'm sketching. I said, oh my God. It's like in like 15 minutes, this song comes out, the foundations of it. So I call my drummer up and I said, Nate, man, I got it. I got the song. And he says to me, yeah, you say that every time. Okay. I said, no, you got to come down and do this. And one thing led to another. And I wrote the song Bleed Over Me. Now, between the time I recorded it in 2019 and June 3rd, 308 Ghost Train was getting very minimal looks, you know, not a lot, even though we had some promotion, we were getting very, you know, just medium type of stuff. It was nothing to really brag about. We put out that song on June 3rd, Bleed Over Me. And in 3 months, we've amassed 33 million plays.
Wow.
That song has taken people and then piqued their interest so much, it brought them back around to listen to the whole first EP.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Bleed Over Me just hit 10 million plays yesterday. Wow. So itself. So it just shows you how miraculous this journey has been, and that when things happen and God gets into your life and carries you in his hands, because see, I ain't walking nowhere. I know that. I'm being carried. So as he's carrying me, man, when he's ready to run, I can't run as fast as him. So in June, he was ready to run with me. So I've been just like taking a ride. So this train has been pulling, you know, all these cars. It's like a movement now. Right. And the train is filled up with people that like all the different songs. So they've come back around from Bleed Over Me, and they've attached themselves to Warren, 21 Guns, I'll Unbreak Your Heart, This Is My Home, Santa Bought a Yacht even. Everybody loves that song. And that's the Christmas song we did.
Yeah, I was going to say the video for that one, man. Was that fun to film the video for the Santa Claus?
Yeah, I decided to retire him. He needs to retire, man. Amazon's just too big. Santa can't compete with Amazon, brother.
Right.
You know? So this whole story has, as much as it's been a 2-year, you know, a 2-year, 20-year overnight success, right? In the last 3 months, it's been phenomenally miraculous.
Right.
I can't thank God enough for, you know, standing by me in my dream and making the promises he made to me a long time ago and keeping them and you know, fulfilling those dreams for me, because that's where we're at now. I'm sure we're just in the beginning, and a lot more to come, man.
Oh, for sure. And Mel Nettie, she loves the story, and at home with Tom and Rhonda, they're saying, "Wow, that mean plays too." And like you're saying, it took you a long time to have that that success, all those years, do you think if you had the choice to have the success right away, or like you've been doing it, you would have rather choose the longer time till you got success because you appreciate it a little more than having something that has like 10 million plays right off the bat, your first thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I live by one distinct saying: it's not how you start this game, it's how you finish it that counts. And I would rather finish the game strong than start it strong and finish it weak. So I'm getting a chance to probably live out, my rest of my life,
Right.
being successful. And I believe that the first years that God has molded me like clay to because I probably, if, a few years back, 10 years, 20 years ago, I probably wouldn't have handled the success as good as I'll handle it now.
Right.
I wasn't as humble. I wasn't as appreciative. I wasn't as, I was just wasn't in my, I didn't have the right set of tools. I had to be crafted. And I think that's why God let me wait a little while. Plus, that's, you got to remember, God doesn't do anything ordinary, my friend. He does everything extraordinary.
Right.
So what you've got to understand is the story now is much more extraordinary than it would have been 20 years ago. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. And God is always looking to teach and show miracles and use us as vehicles to show, what can be done if you believe, if you have blind faith, if you just know who you are. This is not what I do, it's who I am. If you just know that, hey, man, it's going to be okay, no matter what, how bad the times are. Sure, you're going to be tested, man. I've been tested unbelievably. Okay, unbelievably have I been tested. I've been I've won and lost several times. I've been at the brink of failure and end several times. I just keep on going on one more day. And This is God's reward, man. This is God's reward. So for me anyway, everybody will have it different, but I'm very thankful and blessed. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be on your show today and humbled to meet your fan base. And I hope that they'll get to know us and, see the excitement and joy and sharing it with me.
Oh yeah. Well, they probably will. They love music. Like we have the RV DJ in here, and RV Underway. They actually he's a DJ at a radio station there in Alabama. So if you're looking for some new music to play on the radio there, check out 308 Ghost Train. And you're the band and everything is 308 Ghost Train on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also get your stuff on Spotify if you want to spin it that way. And I'll be putting those in the chat.
Bob, I also encourage people to go to SoundCloud. Because SoundCloud, and then put in 308 Ghost Train, because you can listen there free, and you can listen to the music. You have to shuffle it through a bunch of other music, and you can get right to the point. You can test drive the music. We want you to test drive the music first. We're like, back in the days when you listen to the radio back in the days, you didn't have to buy the record first. You listened to it on the radio, and if you liked it, you went and got it. I mean, that's what you should be able to do now. I mean, you don't go buy a car. You don't go buy a car before you test drive it, do you? No. Go get to know us first. Get on the train, grab a seat, man, strap in. This is a movement, and this is not just a band. This is a way of life, and this is a way to someplace that we don't even know where it's taking us. But there's messages there, and I'm sure there's comfort in a lot of those songs for people. And we just look forward to getting to know each and every one of you.
So tell me about that, because I experienced that on YouTube of people, leaving comments and saying, "Oh, this helped me out," or this made me feel this way or that way. Is there any that really stick out in your mind that people have told you about your music that you were like, "Man, I'm actually glad I wrote that for you, even more for than myself now"?
Well, I'll tell you, I get so many comments. I have to have a man to help me. I answer everything. We answer everything personally, and I try to answer as much as I can. And when I'm busy doing something else, Amanda will yell out to me what the comment is, and I'll say what the answer is. And I've had so many people say so many wonderful things. I mean, I can't even begin to get the young kids calling it fire, which is like funny that, this is fire, and then I had to go back and find out what that meant. Because of fire. Okay, it's hot. Okay, it's hot. Okay, I get it. But that's like, and then you've got people that said, I think somebody said, this changed my life. I mean, I've had so many comments that have been so encouraging and motivating to me. And they really humble you, Bob. They really do, man. I'll tell you a little story real quick about I Won't Break Your Heart. I was in a place one time, and I was walking through the place, and there was a young lady sitting at a table. It was in a restaurant, and she was crying, and her tears were coming down her eyes. And I was like, oh, whoa. So I went to the bathroom, and I came back out, and she was still crying. And I said, excuse me. I said, listen, I don't mean to bother you. I said, but are you okay? And she started saying, no, I'm not okay. She said, my whole world's falling apart, this and that and another thing. And I felt, oh, God, did I open up a can of worms here? Did I get myself into something I probably shouldn't have got myself into? So I thought real quick on my feet. She says, yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I'm going to make it through today. This is real, man. It's like a real deal. You can't make this up. Anyway, so I looked over at Amanda, and she looked back at me, and I said, listen, I want you to listen to something. Can you listen to something for a minute? And I put my headphones in my phone, and I put them on her ears, and I played I'll Unbreak Your Heart. And when the song was over, she took those headphones off, stood up, hugged me, and told me, thank you so much. You don't know what you just did for me. I said, okay. I said, okay, now listen, I'm trying to be cool here because it's starting to get me all like, oh, man, what's going on? You know, this like the spiritual thing. So I hugged her, and I signed her a EP. She asked for one, so I signed it for her. And she spelled her name was Amy, and she spelled it a certain way, Aimee. Nobody spells it like that. So how could I ever forget that name?
Right.
About 2 months ago, the guy that buddy of mine down by my rehearsal studio texts me, good buddy of mine, Jim. He says, hey, man, rock star. He says, hey, rock star. He said, I'm with one of your fans tonight. And I said, yeah? He said, yeah. She said you saved her life. And she wants you to know she married the guy and she's doing great. Wow. And then he takes the picture of the EP and it says, to Amy, love train. And man, I started crying, dude. I swear my eyes welled up. And that's probably the best story I have so far for one of the songs because I experienced it personally. I mean, if that don't tell you you're doing something right, brother, you'll never know you're doing anything.
Yeah. Especially you come from the song where you almost gave up, because I've been there before too. And best way I can tell people is they're like, well, why are you trying to do this so hard and go for it? I'm like, because I tried to give it all away, and I shouldn't be here anyway. So what does it matter if I make it or not doing this now? Because it's all extra time as far as I'm concerned.
God rewards perseverance, my friend.
Yeah.
And belief, blind faith. That's the thing. Believing without seeing.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
And I was listening to some of your other interviews and stuff, and you enjoy the Beatles. Is there a song that you heard about the Beatles that you always enjoyed, like something that they did? Like I always liked that rooftop concert they did, their last concert they did on rooftop. But
I mean, what don't you like about the Beatles?
Right.
I mean, if you try to say to somebody, what's your favorite song of the Beatles? I'd have to say, I got a question if somebody has one.
Right.
I mean, really, how can you say you have one? But what I did with the Beatles was, and I don't know if everybody does this, but this was my approach to it. I found out that I wanted to be in this business because the first time from a young boy, I heard music played on a piano. My Aunt Pat used to play piano, and she'd play really good stuff. And the melodies kind of did something to me inside. And later on, I equated it to the music made me feel like I was falling in love. Wow. So I wanted to feel like I fell in love all the time, because even through pain, you always want to feel the good thing. So I would turn to music. And music became my motivation and my love in the beginning. And, man, I digressed a minute, lost my thought for a minute. But the Beatles, what I did with the Beatles was I would take the songs and listen to them. And then I would go get the sheet music as a young boy. I'd get the sheet music and I'd look at the chords and the patterns. I'd play it. And I tried to figure out and dissect the songs and say, why did they go from here to here? And how did they? And some of it was like not in the musical realm. It was against the rules. And I said, oh man, I love this because I'm an anarchist at heart.
Right.
I'm a rebellious person. I love to break the rules. So music and me became best friends. So I started breaking rules, writing songs. And that's what I learned from the Beatles was how to it's a formula. Writing songs is pretty much all math, but it's different kinds of math. And if you dig into the math, and you learn how to do it, you can get yourself set on a course for success. And that's what the Beatles did for me greatly. The Beatles, and then songs like, the CCR, John Fogerty, but he really lit me up. He lit me up inside. Bon Jovi lit me up inside. Poison lit me up inside. That first album, Look What the Cat Dragged In or whatever. With Talk Dirty to Me. I mean, that really lit me up, man. I mean, there's just a lot of songs, a lot of one-hit wonders. And I think that was God's way of keeping me motivated and letting me know that this is where I ultimately would land. And so I did. And here I am.
Yeah, and another one of theirs is, Nothing Else Matters. Or not Nothing Else Matters. Nothing But a Good Time. Is another one of the Poison ones that like can get your energy going. And is that some of the songs that you really like to play? Is ones that get crowds going and energy going?
I was always of the belief, even when I sang in bands as younger, I wanted to play songs that moved me because then I knew I could move the crowd because I love to perform. And I don't know, I have this thing when I get on stage, it's like, you remember the movie with Sylvester Stallone about the arm wrestling over the top, and he would turn his hat and become somebody else, and then he'd become this super arm wrestler. Well, that kind of happens to me on stage. I call it getting the ghost. And I get on stage, and all of a sudden, I mean, sometimes I don't even remember all the performance. It just happens, like the craziness, and I don't know. And then I get off the stage, and people are like going nuts. And they're like doing this, and the energy is just bouncing off the walls. And wow, man, what a wonderful gift to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just great stuff, man.
Yeah, I had it happen once when I was playing in a party, playing a song, and just had everybody's attention, like nobody was talking. And then that kind of hit me, and it was like, it's a weird energy feeling when like everybody's like just captivated by watching you play, and it's weird. It's weird energy.
I think that when you play songs that move you, like I said in the beginning, you're able to move others. Mm-hmm. But then I quickly moved away from that and went into the fact that I knew that cover music was only a teaching tool for me. My job in this realm was going to be an original artist because I'm more innovative than imitative. But you have to learn from somewhere. So the imitative helped me to become innovative better. And of course, I learned from the greats. And I'm so honored and humbled that I get compared to so many of the greats, which is, man, I mean, you don't know. That's just what everybody looks for, Everybody, most artists are happy, Bob, with, I had 1 million plays. That's a lifetime achievement, than most people. So you can imagine when 33 million hit and they keep going. I mean, you're just like, wow.
Right. And you mentioned something, I think it was in an interview or something, that you want to be for the disenfranchised rock fans that don't have a place to listen to anymore. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing, the whole motivation really came from, a disenfranchised segment of the market that was just sick and tired of being spoon-fed pop music, and it's called rock. I mean, you go to the rock charts and you see Panic at the Disco with the #1 slot, it's BS. Mm-hmm. That's not rock music, that's pop music. So what's happened is the music industry is trying to spoon feed people a certain style and call it one thing, just like they did in country. Country turned to pop. Okay, and now everybody accepts it. Well, there's a segment of this market that grew up in the 80s and the 90s, okay? The 70s, 80s, and 90s that isn't taking that crap, okay? They want their old rock music back. And there was a young group from Frankenmuth, Michigan called Greta Van Fleet. They sang just like Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. And they opened the door for the 308 Ghost Train because somebody was smart enough to sign them at Lava. Okay, and these kids sound just like Led Zeppelin. They're great. So people said, "Oh, I guess it's okay to go back to the past." And then the 308 Ghost Train comes, and they say we sound like Creedence and Bon Jovi and Mellencamp and this one and Guns N' Roses, and so now it's accepted. And then you're going to see music. You're going to see music now come back in full circle, and hopefully we'll be taking a good place in this next decade in the rock music world to set the future for what's going to happen in music. I know in an article, you've been reading the articles and listening to the interviews, somebody mentioned that they thought we were going to be the band of the decade. So I hope that's true. I do. It's true.
That'd be really cool. And I was really like, I was wondering where your name was from, and then the 308's from John 308 in the Bible.
Yes.
So you definitely wanted to make sure you included that, your faith almost right up front in the name. So if anybody ever goes, well, what are you talking about? You're like, it's been in the name the whole time.
I mean, it's from John 3:08. The wind blows where it pleases. No one knows where it comes or goes, but it's in everyone born of the Spirit. I believe because I wrote a lot of the songs in my sleep, and I've been directed by the wind, that the ghost is my musical director, refers to the Holy Spirit. And then they call me Train, so it's just fitting that the band be called the 308 Ghost Train. It sums up the whole event, the whole journey in one line.
Right.
It's who we are. That's who we are.
And when you say that, when you have a song like you're talking about, "Bleed on Me," that just comes out of one line, that your girlfriend tells you, and you go write a whole song about it, and you get that many plays, it's a really fitting name. And with all the help she gives you, seems like God sent you a good teammate to help you out with all this as well.
You know what? Say that one more time. I didn't hear that.
With the woman that you have, it sounds like God sent you a good teammate to help you out with all this as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, inspirations come from. I mean, Amanda's been a really, listen, since Amanda came along, everything has went 1,000-fold in the 308 Ghost Train. Prior to Amanda, things were trickling along, and then Bleed Over Me and Amanda's movement into my life transferred me from writing about looking for love to writing about being in love and falling in love. And it goes back to John 3:08. Okay, the wind blows where it pleases, my friend. So the wind blew her into my life. The ghost, everything that's happened in this journey prior to the 308 Ghost Train, all the way up through to today, has all been directed by the movement of God and his movement of me and others in and out of my life, whether it be for painful experiences or joyful experiences. You've got to know one to understand and appreciate the other, by the laws of relativity. And all these things have created all the messages that are coming out right now. I mean, from Warn to Bleed Over Me to the next songs that are coming out next week, the next songs that are being recorded next week. So, I mean, man, it's all God driven, brother. And I mean, and the teammates are all part of that because they've all been put here by the ghost. Yeah. So they all have a meaning. Everybody has a meaning.
Yeah, for sure, man.
It's really a train, brother, that has train cars that's going somewhere. It's not a band, it's a movement.
Yeah. And my the 21 Gun song, it really hit me. It's classic rock song sound to it, of course, but when you're talking about like the 21 gun salute and stuff, my dad got that at his funeral because a volunteer detail came and did that for him. So when I heard that song, it was like that one hit me and brought me back to that. And so I kind of want to know your experience as far as maybe people in your family or something like that kind of inspired that song.
Okay, well, I'm a 12-year veteran of the United States Army, honorably discharged, and I was, I've always had the two things I've really only done in my life that I've ever really done in my life are the military and music. I so I wanted to write a song for all first responders and military people, okay, that had ever served, whether they be in my family or somebody else's family. I wanted them to have a song that they could use as an anthemic ballad to, to hold on to. Because really, I wrote the song because the world had gotten a little lost
Mhm.
in translation of the word freedom. Okay. We had a lot of people going around burning flags, dissing the country. Nobody likes it here, yet they live here. This, that, and I mean, just a bunch of stuff going around. A lot of white noise just happening all around. So I decided to dedicate a song to teaching everyone once again and reintroducing them to the fact that freedom is never free. And I wrote 21 Guns and a Million Tears, and it's had a profound impact on a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I think that hit 8 or 9 million plays as of yesterday too. It's
Wow.
it's trying to run up on Bleed Over Me, but that's a very popular song for us. The problem with I think that song is that it's a division song too. As much as it's a uniting song for those that want to unite under the flag, it's a dividing song for those that could care less. But
Right.
then it's still a reminder to those that care less that, yo, man, you're here because of 21 Guns and a Million Tears.
Right. Right. For sure. And I wanted to kind of ask you, which it doesn't seem like it here at first, but some beard tips for growing the beard, because I am in a competition with another channel. We're having a beard growing competition, and
Beard,
I
beard
got
tips.
yeah,
Beard tips.
I got 6 months. We got 6 months. We got to measure from here to here, from the bottom of the lip down to the chin in 6 months. So we all shave. And so I got to ask for my, teammates out there, like,
Right.
what are some tips to get some length going right away?
Wait, first you start with extensions and then you take them out after your hair grows. Nah, it took me, let's see, this is a year. It's a year. This is a year. So this is a year in the making. Um, I don't do anything special to it, although I do use, let me see. Do I do anything special to it? Do I use any special soaps or anything? Or
Braiding and
oh, you know what I do, man? I use some of that olive oil and rosemary soap.
All right.
Yeah, I do. I use that on it. And
Good
I
job.
I also condition it. I condition my beard to keep it soft because I think it helps it grow.
Okay.
Other than that, I think a good diet. I think a good diet is good too. I eat a lot of protein, man. I
All
think
right.
protein helps everything grow. So I eat a ton of protein.
All right, for sure. Because we're doing the competition, and we're selling shirts and all that stuff to raise money for one of our friends that's a channel to build a forge for veterans to come out and learn how to do blacksmithing, and give them just a place to clear their mind and all that stuff. So that's what we're doing with that. So that's why I had to ask that.
Well, if you want to play the song for them, feel free, man. I'd love to. I love it when vets get together and if you think that they could use a little bit of the inspiration from it, please do, man. Please feel free to play it. Yeah.
For sure, I will do that for sure. And I just wanted to say that your songs, I've heard them described as other stuff, but you have like a really Aerosmithy type feel. Like the musically, you'll try other stuff musically. You're not stuck in just one certain type of guitar sound or anything like that. You kind of go around with it, and then your voice has that soulful sound like Steven Tyler's does as well.
Well, that's a great compliment, and I appreciate it. And that's probably the reason that we do that is because Aerosmith's one of my favorite bands, and they play everything from good rock and roll to even poppy rock and roll, and their songs are melodic, and the messages are good, and the stories are great, and so that's probably a great it's a great compliment, and it's actually truthful because they are a big part of my musical library.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And you can check out, like I said, Go to SoundCloud though. Train wants you to go to SoundCloud, so get 308 Ghost Train on SoundCloud. Check them out. Thank you for being here today. Stick with me for just 1 minute. Say goodbye to these guys. Till tomorrow, or when I see you again, stop waiting for life to happen and make life happen. Later, guys.